after really understanding and learning like the process that a butterfly goes through, I'm like, dang, that's me. So you go to caterpillar and then you go through these phases and now you're in this cocoon. And then out of this cocoon, which is the ugly part, that's you shedding away, that's the debunking, that's the myths, that's the trauma, that's everything. That's that cocoon because you're now shedding, you're getting rid of some stuff in order to transform to that next level. And so I think that that's the other part. Trusting the process, but helping people to understand I wasn't always here. I wasn't always on this level of income. I wasn't always this happy, joy. I've had my moments where I'm like, okay, woe is me. Like you say, you know how much I can bear, but this right here, I don't even know. Like you're gonna have to help a sister out.
You got to bear this.
Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and inspire joy. Be empowered to balance your mental, physical, financial, aspirational, and social health while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. It Joy, and I'm here to help you transform life's challenges into opportunities for joy. Let's begin the journey together. Hello. We are here for episode 71. What's your why? Discover what makes you feel alive. And I have an awesome guest here with me today, Dr. Shunte Howze. Did I pronounce that right? I'm at the
Oh, you're good.
Awesome. So Dr. Shunte Howze is a dedicated advocate for human services and personal growth with a career spanning social services, community outreach, and coaching. She's the founder of Genesis Outreach, Inc., supporting over 9,500 families, and owner of Purpose Life Coaching Services, guiding individuals toward purpose-driven lives. Dr. Howze also leads SGH Consulting, empowering businesses in community care, an accomplished speaker and author. She recently released her book, Purpose Life, Creating Purpose from Within. Woohoo! So anything else you'd like to add to that, Dr. Howze?
No, you have summed it up. I'm lady of all human service, social services, so I'm good. That sounds great.
Awesome. And when I purchased your book, I didn't realize it was a journal. Does it come with a book or it's just a journal? We might as well talk about that a little bit.
Yes, so it's just a journal. I didn't want to per se put a lot of prompting into it. I am working on a book, ironically, that you said that I have 3 that's been in queue, and now I'm releasing and moving some space so that I can finish what God has given me to start. But really, honestly, it's just a prompting journal at this point. Again, it was actually just a flow of how I start my day. Typically every morning I lie in the bed and just kind of pray and I meditate and I find one scripture that I'm going to focus on for the day. And then I'm going to do my affirmations for the day. And then I do my mind dump at the end of the evening. And then I do gratitude, at least three things I'm grateful for. And so that is how I've done my day. And so I was like, you know what, maybe I'll create a journal for this and allow somebody to kind of have at least a guide on how to start their day and, what works for me.
That's awesome. Creating purpose from within, your year of being intentional, because we have to be intentional about our purpose, affirming who you are and sticking to your goals. I love it. And it's really exactly what you said. It's like all these pages and like looking at what your scripture of the day is, because it's nice to tie in our spirituality. And 3 affirmations. I am always talking about I ams, positive affirmations, because we optimism, gratitude, all of that goes a long way. So thank you. And everyone get it. I've got it from Amazon. Is it anywhere else you can find it?
I'm on my website, which is purposelifecoaching.com. And it's on there now. And of course, I do a lot of different events where I actually have them and I'll sign them as well in person. So
Hey, you have any events coming up?
I do have an event coming up actually this Saturday, November the 2nd from 2 until 7 p.m. We're going to be at the Dillards Mall of Georgia. It's going to be an intimate conversations. I'm going to say for the more mature 35 and up, we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about menopause. We're going to talk about breast self-examinations because we'll be supporting the American Cancer Society. We'll be talking about just clearing your mind, debunking childhood beliefs and myths and things of that nature when it comes down to our sexuality, even to the point of washing our underclothes. Like we shouldn't use laundry detergent. So I have a special guest, Rhea Gardner. She is actually a scientist by day, but she's actually moved into public health and sex. She's a sex education certified sex education specialist. And so she'll be there kind of just sharing with us about some different things and how to take care of ourselves. Mind, body, and spirit is what we're going to work on, but we'll have some cocktails and we'll have some hors d'oeuvres and have an opportunity also to do bra and shapewear fitting as well. Any purchases that are done on this Saturday coming up will go, a portion of the proceeds will go to the American Cancer Society so that they can finish their further their research on cancer.
That's so awesome. So this Saturday, November 2nd, I'm going to have to make a short clip from this because we're going to air obviously on the 7th, but we're going to have to make a short clip before November 2nd. And you said, where is it and what's the time?
Yes, it's at Dillard's Mall of Georgia. It's 3333 Buford Drive, and it's in Buford, Georgia, 30519. It's going to be from 2 until 7 o'clock p.m.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to try to make it out. That's my
it's a ladies' day out. It's gonna be a good time. Women only. We're gonna deep dive into some conversations, and we're gonna have a good time. So it's gonna be a moment of empowerment. It's gonna be a moment of education, and it's gonna be some laughing, and it may even be some crying. I'm still curating and kind of putting everything together. But I tell people I don't have events. I have experiences.
Hey,
I know that's what you bring as well.
Oh, great. Well, let's talk about your why. Like, I mean, I'm all about like transparency. I feel like when we talk about our stories and we feel empowered to do that, we empower other people. So what's your why? What's your story? How did you get into what you're doing?
Okay, so I've been in social services for a very long time, everything from case management to overseeing multiple group homes throughout the state of Georgia. It was actually 11 families. My kids were there from DFACS, Department of Family and Children Services, as well as Department of Juvenile Justice. Many of my kids, when they aged out of the system, many of them were basically, they didn't have an opportunity to return home. So they went out into the community. And after doing all that, until 2008, I actually had my first daughter, which is Genesis. I actually named my nonprofit, well, really named her after the nonprofit. And so I realized like I couldn't really do things on the level that I was doing it now that I have my own child. So I still wanted to be able to touch those children because I call them my kids. I still need to be a parent to the child that God has blessed me with physically that I've birthed. And so from there, I actually started two things. I started my consulting business, which is SGH Consulting Supportive Services, as well as Genesis Outreach, which is my nonprofit. And it really is like a resource center. My kids would call me for everything from clothes to shoes to money to bus fare to I need a job to I need some food. Somebody started sharing with me about what a nonprofit is. I was like, okay, you know what? Boom, I'll start a nonprofit. So that's how I started the nonprofit. And at the same token, I was one of those moms that were like, I don't want to put my child in daycare until she can talk. I don't just want anything to my child. I'm from Alabama, so I had no immediate family that was take care and nurture my precious jewel. I'm like, okay, God, what am I going to do now? And so honestly, from the company closing down, I was like, okay, I can start a consulting business. And honestly, it was God just telling me, because I don't have an MBA. I didn't go to school for business at all. God was like, I've given you everything that you need. I've given you the relationships. I've given you the knowledge. I've given you everything you need. You can start a consulting business. It's like, okay. And supportive services kind of ties in at the end. So I started this consulting business. I'm doing well. I'm making decent money, figuring out the scope of things from like, okay, how do I do a consultation? What does that look like? Let me figure out what a form looks like. And I'm Googling and all these different paths and all these different things. And things were like up and down with any business. And so I got tired, started working at Fort McPherson for a few minutes before they moved to Fort Bragg, doing the Army Reserve family programs because I'm a military brat. So that was very dear to my heart. And then from there, I was like, okay, went through a divorce with all of this. Ended up expecting with my youngest daughter. And then went through a divorce in the middle of all of this. That was in 2013. But with that, how I got to Purpose Life was essentially this. I got burnt out of just a consultant. Either people had money or they didn't have money, or they want you to do things in the name of Jesus and God gonna bless you. Had the nonprofit pouring out. And I remember on your last episode, you said you can't give from an empty cup. So I realized I can't just keep giving from an empty cup, that I need to give from my overflow. So like, okay, I'm, doing the nonprofit, I'm doing good. I don't receive any form of income from that at all. And so in 2019, I sat down and said, okay, God, I'm tired. Like, what is it I'm supposed to be doing? Because I'm kind of tapped out. God gives us certain things. He's given us skills. He's given us gifts, but then he also gives us our purpose. So that's actually how I ended up starting Purpose Life Coaching. Because I was tapped out of school, got a doctor. I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. Didn't want to sit in long training sessions. And so went through, got the certification for life coaching.
Nice.
And then I said, purpose life, what does that mean? And God was like, I want you to do purpose with a D, because whatever it is that you're destined to become, you will. You just have to trust your process, but it's purpose with the D because it's already inside of you. You just got to go through the process to get there. So this is my thing that I'm really, really enjoying, because it's not just a business, it's my ministry. And just being able to pour into people, to help people to figure out what their purpose is, because it's already there. And then from a coaching aspect versus therapy such as you're in, I'm just taking where you are and moving you forward. Where I'm not really per se deep diving back into the full background of childhood to get people where they are, but it's to take them where they are and move them forward. And I've absolutely enjoyed doing this coaching, so much so that I've had to make some life decisions in 2024 that will roll out in 2025 moving forward. So I have a state contract currently right now. And with that state contract, I've made millions. I've made really great money, right?
Awesome.
But with that, God told me my time is up. So now it's not about money. It is really about living my purpose life. And I'm one of those people that's like, can't be a hypocrite. You got to practice what you preach. So now you're telling people just to jump out there, trust God, trust the process. Shunte, it's your turn now too. So I've been feeling this nudge, and this has been a very uncomfortable 2024 for me, because I've not been per se obedient to what it is that I know my next is supposed to be. And so I am shutting down that portion of the business. I'm no longer going to do that. And I'm going to fully do purpose life, because that's what I'm supposed to do. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, definitely what stood out, you said you were burnt out. The divorce happened, there was pregnancy, and that's burnout in and of itself, for sure. That's trauma, that's all the things. And it almost seems like it's when we get burnt out, it's when we get to the bottom, and that's what, squeezes out our resilience, because you can't be resilient without failure or without stress and without all those things. So it's always takes something that takes that. And you mentioned God so much. And as a psychiatrist, I try to be neutral, but I can't knock the fact that I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and God is literally what gave me my purpose and how I continued on my path to become a doctor and how I continue to do those things. So we got to talk about that. And like you said, he gives us our purpose. You did say it's not about money. It's about living a purpose life. Is it really an oxymoron? Can we make the money and live a purpose life?
That's exactly it. Because I say God make rooms for your gift and he blesses them. So that's where I'm at now. God will make rooms for your gifts and he'll bless them. But in the same token, I say, okay, God, this is what you really want me to do. Your opportunities are going to find me. I'm not going to have to seek. I'm not going to have to search. I'm not going to have to manipulate. I'm not going to have to put myself out here to sell myself short for anything. Opportunities are going to find me. And I can just tell you from day one, since I have began, I've not had to recruit, figure out, find opportunities. They have literally honestly found me. And so at that point I knew okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. And this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so that's my why. At this point, I'm in my why.
Yes. So when it comes to asking God, what does that look like for you? And I can tell, I'll say first what that looked like for me.
Okay.
So I've mentioned it a couple of times, but for me, before I went to medical school, I was a part of a gospel chorale, and there was a prophet, young prophet. He was also in college, part of the gospel chorale, and he prophesied to me. He said, "You're going to medical school. You're going to be successful. You're going to travel the world." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So, there was someone who spoke to me, who was a man of God. And then also later, even after that prophecy, I was still getting discouraged. And it was a scripture. I think it was in Timothy. It was somewhere. And it said, "Do not neglect the gift that was given you by the prophet." And I was just like, what? Wait, the prophet said that and you leading me to the scripture. So to me, it was easy. It was God's talking to me through scripture. He's talking to me through people who he speaks through. Because a lot of people feel well, how do I hear from God? Even if they don't believe in God, how do I hear about my purpose? So how did it come to you when you say ask God? Because a lot of times you're not going to hear his voice. You're not going to hallucinate.
Exactly. It's that tugging, it's that nudging inside of me. It's okay, it's something else, it's something else, it's something else. And see, I'm one of those that kind of got a hard head every now and then. And I don't know where it comes from, but I'm one of those things have to happen in order for me to move. So I'm working on that. And maybe that's a trauma response. I don't know. But now I'm getting to the space to where it doesn't have to be uncomfortable for me to make a decision. But I saw the billboards, I saw the signs. I've had people to speak to me and say, okay, you're supposed to be doing this, or God said this. And I'm like, okay, well, he can speak to me too. And all these different things started happening. But it was me honestly taking time to really, really, there's a difference between meditating and praying. I was doing my meditation, and I was able to just close everything out and just really just sit and listen. At first, of course, I heard the cars going down the street and the birds chirping, but the more I sat in it, I could hear. And now that I'm hearing, I'm okay, like, what am I supposed to do with this? Now I'm in my prayer, like, Lord, give me wisdom, show me what I'm supposed to do, give me my path, give me my direction. And honestly, those things started coming. I would get like something to pop up on my computer says like, oh, this is a life coach. I'm like, okay, what is a life coach? So I'm really honestly reading through it and looking through that. And then I'll hear somebody come to me like, hey, have you ever thought about speaking? And I'm like, I have, but I'm a behind the scenes girl. I don't want to,
right.
I can do everything in the background. I'm good with that, but I don't want to come before any camera. And then I went through all these different things, the self-doubt, those things that come along, like I'm not good enough. What does success look like? And so I had to come to a point of terms of redefining success for myself. It ended up being that I had to block out all the noise of the world, including myself. I had to get me out the way. And then I had to start reaffirming who I am. Like, okay, girl, you are bad. You have done some amazing things. You are a game changer. And I just started reaffirming, and God just started honestly showing me like all the things I have been able to overcome. And as you mentioned the word resilient, the things that I've been able to overcome, I've been able to go against the odds. I'm like, okay, you know what, girl, you are bad. Like, let's just try this out. There's still a couple of things that I'm teetering on that I'm like, I don't know yet, Lord. So I'm doing a double dutch, right now on some things, but I'm 10 toes down with this right here. But it's really, again, like you said, some people speaking to me. I mean, honestly, as I've been trying to make this hard decision that I'm retiring, because retirement comes with income with this particular contract. I'm like, I've had more money to come through, say, okay, well, this is what would happen, or you pray about it, but, just think about it, or you can rebuild your infrastructure. I've heard that 3 days last week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I had 3 people that had no idea who I was in 3 different situations to speak to me, say, listen, wherever you are, God is about to multiply that times 10, times 100. God is giving you a global space, but the reality of this is really honestly confirmation of what God has already shown me. I've seen myself on stages. I've seen all these things happening. And so sometimes you just need that confirmation, that reassurance, like, okay, God, am I heading on the right path? Am I losing my mind? But it is not for me to really honestly to understand. It's for me to be able to be obedient and also to be able to surrender, which is the hardest part.
Yes, all the things. So self-reflection, those mindfulness moments, clearing your mind, because when you're all cluttered by everything else going on and you're not doing a meditation, it's really hard to hear the voice of God or hear like exactly what you need to do. Now, when it comes to those people who don't believe in God, and it doesn't mean that you don't have a purpose just because you don't believe in God. Do you coach people who don't believe in God? And I imagine you're not saying believe in God so you can have a purpose. How do you work with them? Because not everybody who's listening believes in God, and that's okay. We want you to have a purpose too.
Exactly. And so honestly, I have realized that God will send me my people, but it doesn't have to be somebody, again, that shares the same faith. It's just honestly something that is inside of me that would click with them, and we're able to work together, because I don't have to say God for them to know that there's something higher and greater than us. It could be a situation where we're in a coaching session and I've not mentioned God at all. In that session. I've not in several sessions. And something will happen where there's a download. It may be an assignment that I may give them. And it's like, how did you know?
You mean they would ask you that?
Come to you. Right.
Gotcha.
How did that come to you? And I'm like, honestly, it was given to me. And in those moments, I've had people to say, like, I know there's a God, or I know that there's a higher being, or I know that there's something that had to have happened for you to notice, because I didn't share this information with you. So even if it's not God or Allah or Buddha or other spaces that people believe in, there's something higher and greater than us. So whatever you call it, we're going to call it what it is. We're going to roll with it. So I don't have on my my bio or my profile that I'm a Christian coach or I'm just a life coach, because I'm really coaching people through life. And maybe part of that coaching is to give an introduction through my lifestyle and things I've gone through. Like, how did you feel like, girl, It was a faith walk. What is faith? So through conversation becomes introduction, because even in working in the group homes, like we couldn't talk about religion or we couldn't talk about praying and that kind of stuff to the kids because they belong, they're placed by the state. So you have to separate state and religion. However, I did have kids at times like, Dr. House, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just pray about it. I'm like, you know what? I think prayer will change some things.
Yeah.
You bring it in, you usher it in, and I'm gonna take you all the way there. But I'm gonna tiptoe with it because again, I do want to be respectful of people's beliefs. Because we all have them. And it's not all just spirituality too. It's a whole lot of belief systems that we have to work through and debunk in order for us to finally get to our truth.
Debunk. Yeah, because there's a lot of core beliefs, and that's how cognitive behavioral therapy works. There's a lot of core beliefs that we might have that's leading to our depression, our anxiety, and that we have to debunk in order to even get rid of that, let alone finding our purpose. So that's really good. Do you have any like structured tools that you give each client to help them get to their purpose, or it's kind of like a case by case?
Honestly, it's a case by case. It's even how I do social services now. I'm not one of those like real stringent, I utilize this model or I utilize that model. It's Shunte's model at the end of the day. It's whatever. I kind of move, like they say, what was that? I forgot that song. When I move, you move, just like that. That's me. I'm like, I move at the way you want to move. I meet people where they are, be it their mental, their physical body, or whatever the case may be. I meet people where they are because I realize that if I can meet people where they are, I can help them to excel to the level where they need to be. But if I'm coming here and they're here, we're not going to be able to connect. So I always find that good space to where they are, and I work through that on in the way that they best get their, I'm gonna say meet their goals or reach their goals, or where they, enter their higher self or whatever it is.
Meet them where they are.
I do coaching, I do virtual sessions, but also I have individuals I meet at the park. It's like, okay, girl, let's walk.
Nice.
I do walk and talks. If it's at the coffee shop, I'll meet you at the coffee shop. I may be drinking tea, but I'm going to meet you at the coffee shop. If it is, girl, let's go work out in the gym. Now, I don't know how much you get done that treadmill if I hadn't been on there in a while, but we're going to work through, we're going to breathe through. And I said, listen, put your recorder on because I don't know if I'm going to be able to repeat this, but we're going to get through this. So if it's just going into a park and just sitting down, if it's grounding, whatever that is, I meet people where they are as long as it doesn't go against my values and my belief system and what I have going on as well. And so, because I believe that when you're at your best self, when you're in an environment that's conducive for things to take place.
That's really good.
On a virtual session, it's like, okay, where is your space in your house? If it's your bed, if it's your bedroom, if it's on the floor, I'm about to join you. We're going to virtually have a good connection. And I'll sit on my floor too because I'm a country girl. So I'm going to have my socks off and my shoes off, and we're going to sit here together. We're going to get through this together because, again, I do believe in meeting people where they are.
Now, how many times do you meet with people? Is there a structure with that? Like, for 3 months, or can it go 10 years? Like, how does that work? I mean, like therapy.
I'm hoping it doesn't go 10 years because at that point, I'm not doing my job.
Oh, that's true.
They just like me like that. And they just, okay, we have 6 months. Every 6 months, we're going to check in. But honestly, I typically like to start off with at least 3 months because we're talking about habit forming. We're talking about changing some things. We're talking about grieving some things. We're talking about getting through some things. And so it's a process. And if you think a month is going to take place, unless we're doing at least every single week, maybe twice a week, we may get there. But the reality of it is, it's not going to happen. And I don't want you to waste your money and my time because I value that more so than anything else at this point. When you talked about reclaiming your time, I watched the episodes. I'm like, that's the one right there. I need that episode 69. So I heard it. Listen to that episode 69 because there was some really good tidbits in it. I wrote a few notes from that just for myself because I tell people all the time, just because I'm a life coach, I still have a therapist and I still have a coach. Because I need those accountability partners as well.
Right.
And so with that being said, I typically say at least 3 months, but it's not a numbers game for me in terms of money. As far as long as your pocket can stretch, if it's only 2 months, that's fine. But I can tell you this, it may not change unless we're going to wrap this thing and we're going to really put some goals in place. And as you mentioned, like those SMART goals in place, if you can really maintain those things and be realistic with your goals, then I'm going to recommend 3 months or build up your budget until you can at least do 3 months. And that's everything we need to do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So at least 3 months. I mean, it makes sense because you have to work with them for a certain period of time for them to really like come to it. This is not an overnight thing.
Exactly.
The reason I started talking about purpose is because of aspirational health. It's one of the 5 crucial areas of our health. So that's the mental health piece, physical health, social health, financial health, and then aspirational. Because we don't talk about that. You could be doing well mentally, physically, your finances are going well, your relationships are going well, but then you just don't fulfilled in life and your purpose. And then that just messes everything else up because you don't feel fulfilled. So this is why I'm talking about it from a mental health aspect. Any mental health obstacles that you tend to encounter with your clients that you see?
Mm.
Like whether depression gets in the way, some type of trauma, like do you have to coach them through that and then say, hey, you should see a therapist? Like,
Yes. So a lot of, and it's funny. Sometimes God sends you. It would, and that's the old version of you or the other parts of you that you've had to work through. And I say I become my own first project first before working with someone else on things. And so most of the individuals, my clients have come to me, have had daddy issues. My parents went through divorce when I was, younger.
yeah.
Went through, and then of course I went through my own divorce. I've had the single parents. I have had couples that were going back and forth. And I'm telling people all the time, like, listen, although I'm divorced, I'm praying every day, like, Lord, send them. I want to be married. And I was married for 15 years. I like the consistency. I like the stability, and I like family. So I like the structure. So I'm not here to tear anything up. I'm here to help you pick those pieces up and put them together. So it could be like, okay, let's schedule some date nights. Like, you need to have time outside of your babies, because before those babies, you all were together. You were a couple. So figuring out how to build out time, even if it's scheduled intimate sessions, even if it's scheduled, date nights or whatever. And then, I've had some to come to me that were in relationships that's like, well, he never comes up with any ideas. And so I would tell him, like, okay, listen, how about you all get together one evening where you're just in those really good touchy moments, like, babe, what do you want to do? And what are some ideas that you have? I said, you can go to Dollar Tree, get your box. They had a little box with a little top, and you get your box with your top. And he put his ideas in here, and you put your ideas in here. And even if it's twice a month, he pulled from your box, you pull from his box, and you both are doing something that you both want to do. But again, keeping the intimacy in a relationship, because you got to keep that honey dripping from the moon, because you're going to have some times. But how do you put that piece back together? I've worked with families where the family is just all over the place. I've worked with blended families. I had a stepfather as well. So I understand what that blending looks like and how that can also be challenging. Although I easily went in, it took my brother a while because that's not my dad. So it took a level of respect, and my mom working through and my stepdad working through for all of us figuring out how we can coexist as a family, while now still bringing my stepdad, my biological father into the pieces, and bringing my stepdad's ex-wife into the pieces and his other daughter into the pieces. And I was like, this is what family looks like. Some people are like, oh, I'm like, listen, this is what family looks like. It's all of that and some. And then, of course, I have those that are dealing with the stress, depression, definitely trauma. You mentioned that successful woman that has it all together, has the family, successful children. Honestly, that's one of my individuals I've worked with in the past. I mean, everything is going great financially, but now it's like, who am I outside of my husband, my children, my job, and my money? I had to go through that process because I had to go through the stripping of my roles. Outside of all these roles and these titles, who am I?
Like redefining yourself.
Redefining myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And while we're on that, you mentioned therapy, you mentioned your own life coach, and of course you mentioned trying to reclaim your time and things like that. Now, so how do you balance your own self-care with serving others? Because you definitely give and give to a lot of people.
Awesome. So that's a great question. So one of the things that you mentioned in your last session was about that word saying no, the power of no. So I've gotten better because I am one that is naturally a giver. I'm naturally a helper. I'm naturally like, oh, you asked me this and I'm gonna give you 1,001 resources. But what I had to accomplish and get to there was the power of no. And that was also, again, that those reaffirming myself, like, you're not a bad person because you said no. You're not a selfish person because you said no. Imagine what you would be like if you got some rest instead of going to celebrate this person's birthday. Just get them a gift, send them something. Take them to dinner on another day. Take them to lunch on another day. It's okay. And to my children, at times I'm like, okay, baby, it's like, you all know mommy go hard for you. I do that. But today we're going to have to just sit in the house and chill this weekend. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to just relax. So the power of no. I've actually now, I schedule my days around my children because I'm a mommy first. God bless me with my kids. So typically, my oldest one, she's driving now. She's 16, so she's driving herself to school. But I was still up in the morning time to say, baby, have a good day. So that's 5:15 in the morning for her. Making certain she's good. 6:30, she's letting me know she's at the house and she's driving to school. She'll text me, let me know she made it. Great. So that next 30 minutes is me spending time, again, going through my journal prompts. So I'm like, so I'll go on my Bible plan, my Bible app. I'll look at the scripture for the day. I have Bible plans that I'm reading alone, and I have one that I'm reading with a friend. So I'll go through my Bible app, read a couple, like whatever that devotional is for the day, and get past that. And I'll allow there a few more minutes, and then I'm up. So I know by 7:30 I'm up because I'm having to get my youngest daughter up. So I have time. So I'm scheduling things. I'm very calculated when it comes down to time.
That's good.
So
prioritizing, scheduling.
Exactly. I'm getting her out the bed while she's getting ready. I'm cooking breakfast because I'm the old school mom. I'm cooking breakfast every morning and I'm making lunch. And they like their stuff fresh. So again, I'm that mom. So I'm cooking her breakfast, getting her lunch ready. By 8:45, we're out the house. So we still have our time. So now I've had to, because she's in middle school now. So elementary, 8:10. Middle school out here in Gwinnett, we're like 9:10, 9:15. So now they're in banker's hours. So I'm like, okay, guys, what do I do? It took me about 3 weeks to honestly readjust my schedule because I was used to getting up, drop her off at school at 8:10. In 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm at somebody's park. I'm doing my 3 miles of walking. And then I'm starting my work day by 9 o'clock, 9:30 at the latest. Well, now my work day is not starting until about 10.
Because it depends on when she starts school. Wow. Well, that's good. You have that flexibility.
Yes, I drop her off at school. And at that point, I'm straight into my work day. And then she doesn't get out of school until 4 o'clock. Again, my high school, she's driving herself. She got a job now and she's making her coins. So she's good, but I try now to do everything between, I guess, like a 10 and 30 because then I pick her up as well. And she's in gymnastics. I build everything around my girls. And then I know the days that she's at gymnastics, then I can do evening coaching sessions. And I can also work my contract that I currently have right now. I do any other business. Okay. So I do my grocery shopping. Anything I'm doing it around my girls' schedules because, again, at the end of the day, I'm a mommy first. So everything is tied around their schedule. So if I know that she has a competition or my daughter's off now and she wants to do a mommy evening, we go get our nails done and go to the movies, then everything else has to stop. World stops for 5 minutes because now it's about Genesis and Zion. World can clock back in.
Right. And it sounds like you're still getting in time for yourself, at least in the morning when you meditate.
Yes, exactly. And then they know it's mommy time. So 9 o'clock is like,
oh, good.
That she does not have practice. 9 o'clock, I'm clocked. Mommy is mommy time out. I'm coming to my room. lying in bed until the TV is watching me. That's why I can't get through a series right now, or I'm reading a book, or it's just my time. But they know it's mommy's time. I still go and do things with friends. I'll schedule like, okay, girls, mommy going to be going here. I'm going to be doing that. And they understand it's mommy's time. And I talk about not being selfish,
Yeah.
Because I'm a better mommy if I take a nap. I'm a better mommy if I have a chance to go and play with my friends like you all play with your friends. I don't cut in on your time,
Exactly. And they sound like they're understanding.
Exactly. And so us being able to communicate and let them understand also about balance. Like life is not all about working. I've done the all work and no play, and it almost gave me a heart attack, honestly. Literally gave me a heart attack. I've had the moments of like, while they sleep, we work and I'm chasing money. And almost,
then you're not getting sleep.
Right, exactly. Started having heart palpitations, and I'm like, okay, you know what? My girls need me. That was stress. That was overworking. I'm not chasing money anymore. Like I'm a magnet. I'm a money magnet. It's gonna find me. Opportunities are gonna find me. But what I'm not gonna do is keep on doing this right here, and I can't enjoy it because I know some millionaires. They have great money, but they don't enjoy life because now they're sick. I'm like, no, I want to be able to enjoy. I want to be on somebody's island or on my own island somewhere, and I want to be able to, like you, get up and run or do some things. Yeah. I want to be healthy. I want to be able to spend my money and versus, all this other stuff. So I'm in a different space, but it took me honestly some time to get there. It wasn't an overnight thing because of the way we were raised, especially as women. You're a superwoman. You go and you save the world, save everybody, and we go until we can't go with that anymore. You're a mom, so you don't say no to your kids. You make certain that you put in all this time with homework and all this other stuff, and you go to all the PTAs and you join all the room parents. And I was in that phase for a while too.
Ooh, yeah.
I've done all that, and I've had to learn things the hard way. So that's what I'm saying. Now
Can't
I'm to
do it
the point
all.
now it's the point of, okay, Shunte, balance. So I've learned how to balance my work life. And because I went through all those things, now I'm able to say and help somebody else through my journey and my story, say, okay, listen, I'm gonna tell you now, you need to spend time with your husband. Because if you don't, when those kids grow up and they leave, if you don't have an intimate relationship, there's not going to be any more of you and him, because it was the kids that kept the glue.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yes,
what I'm noticing. Like when you have all these little, well, not little relationships, big, huge, like meaningful relationships, you're a parent and you're a spouse, you are psychiatrist, therapist, coach, whatever you are,
yes,
you have to do all that. And it seems like it seems like sometimes the spouse gets the back end. So,
yes,
like for instance, I wake up, I might run, I go to work, I see patients, so they're getting the best me. Then my kids are getting the best me because they're kids, they're toddlers
yes,
and baby and the 13-year, like I have to take care of them. So
yes.
then I'm tired, and then hubby's like, well, what about me? So then I learn, I'm like, oh, okay, wait, let me prioritize you too. Because technically the Bible says you got to prioritize your spouse over your kids.
That's right. That's right.
So it's about reframing like mentally about this, but that's why you really have to give into yourself first. So at least you're not
Yes,
feeling like you're neglecting yourself. But yeah, after the kids go to sleep, that's hubby times when we watch Love
yes.
is Blind together. We watch our little shows together. So you're right about that. So we can't neglect the spouse.
And it can be a lot, but it's just figuring out what
Yeah,
also works for you. Because I
it's
also
me.
found too that people want to tell you their stuff, and what works for them. And we'll take your ideas, but I also have to fit it in the framework of my life and what my life looks like.
Yeah, so it's different. What works for other people may not work for you, and that's okay. You'll find what works for you. So, how do we inspire others to stay motivated and hopeful, even when they're facing life's biggest challenges? Because like life happens, and then we could just give up on trying to face our purpose when we're getting drowned by these daily stressors.
It's just like what we're doing now. Like, we overcome by our testimony, and so
Yeah.
do other people. And so it's us taking off the mask of life for ourselves and then for other people, to say, you know what, I'm human. I get tired.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm human. My business may not be doing so well right now, but this is how I pivoted. This is what I've gone through, but this is what I did.
Hmm.
So tips and resources, but also sharing our life, because a lot of times, and I have the butterfly. After really understanding and learning like the process that the butterfly goes through, I'm like, dang, that's me. So you go to caterpillar, and then you go through these phases, and now you're in this cocoon. And then out of this cocoon, which is the ugly part, that's you shedding away. That's the debunking. That's the myths. That's the trauma. That's everything. That's that cocoon, because you're now shedding. You're getting rid of some stuff in order to transform to that next level. And so I think that that's the other part.
Ooh.
Trusting the process, but helping people to understand I wasn't always here. I wasn't always on this level of income. I wasn't always
Hmm.
this happy, joy. I've had my moments where I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, God, woe is me. Like, you say you know how much I can bear, but this right here, I don't even know. Like, you're gonna have to help a sister out, because
Yeah, yeah.
I'm struggling
I
right now.
usually got to bear this.
Right. Exactly. So then going through that and sharing those stories to say, this is how I got here. Your
Hmm.
journey may be a little different than mine, but you two can get there as well. But us being able to have dialogues like this, I think that is so amazing. Although people don't embrace, social media like they could or should,
Yeah.
or embrace YouTube or radio and whatever. But I think that we have all these avenues to be able to give messages, to give people hope, to let people know, like, I did it, you can do it too. These are some tidbits, these are some resources, and people like you that's also subject matter experts. Like, not only do you have the life experience, but you got the education to back it up. And so those give reputable spaces for people to be like, okay, you know what, I can trust. I can
Yeah.
do. It wasn't just I read a book. I tell people all the time, like, you can't tell me anything about being a parent if you wrote an amazing book. But when that
But you
child
have to be a parent.
right, you need to be a parent,
I feel
because
like my experience trumps my education. I just when I teach parents, I'm going off of my experience. I'm just like, okay, the education is kind of like,
exactly. But being able to be so amazing like that, to be able to interchange, is absolutely amazing. And then if we think about even where we started in our businesses and how
Mhm.
much we've grown. I know this will be episode 71, but you think about that day one, and where you
Yeah.
started and the things that you started off with, maybe even equipment that you started off with, and now look
Uh-huh.
at you, like you're doing amazing things. But
Thank
this is
you.
how life happens. So it's not just a quick quick fix, quick get. It's going to take some time. But
Mhm.
in that time, you're going to learn, you're going to grow, and then you're going to
Mhm.
continue to expand. But it's just like a test in school. You can pass
Mhm.
or fail it. But if you fail it, you got to take that test again. But it's
Yeah.
never typically the same questions in the same order, maybe multiple choice. It could be a fill in the blanks, it could be something else, but it's never the same test. So we just have to get through our process, get connected with people. It takes a village, not
Yep.
just kids, but to help raise us as well.
Exactly.
Connected. So we need a community.
Yeah, and like, we learn from these failures, challenges, and stresses. We need them, again, for our resilience. And you mentioned the butterfly analogy. Did you know that if like we helped the butterfly come out of its cocoon, like we cut it open and made the hole wide, did you know that the butterfly wouldn't be able to fly? It needs to push itself out. It needs to push itself through that small hole, and because there's just like these juices or chemicals that come
Yeah.
out, and it makes it stronger because it pushed its way through that small hole. So
Yeah.
it's just like, whoa, like it's like the
Yeah.
best analogy for you got to push your way out, and you get stronger when you do that.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Crazy. All right, so we on Journey to Joy Live. What is your journey to joy looking like for you, Dr. Howze?
Well, when I was thinking about, I saw your on your I think it was on your website, you was like joy is joy is joy is. And it
Right.
really is. It's within. Your purpose is within. And so my joy is honestly within. It says, man didn't give it to me, the man can't take it away.
Mm-hmm.
People can bring happiness, but only you can give yourself joy. And so in this moment, I'm really, truly enjoying me. I'm enjoying everything about me, my flaws, my imperfections, but also the great things about me. And I'm embracing this space because I'm one also that I love kids. I love my daughters. I love teaching. So it's like I'm my own best example. And I have to be able to be that example for my daughters to realize, yep, you can drive the nicest car and that still may not bring you that joy. You can have all the money in the world and that still may not bring you that joy because that is something that's innate. That's something that's embedded inside of you.
Yeah.
So it's finding it, and when you find it, hold on to it by all means necessary. We have our
Yeah.
moments where we're down and we go, but joy is forever. It doesn't leave us. We have our moments, but it never leaves us. And so that's
Correct.
where I find my joy. I find my joy within. And it's
Yeah.
being able to have conversations like this to where we're able to collectively be able to empower someone else, to enlighten someone else. It is not just from all these other things, it's from here. And I
Mhm.
know that even in hearing your stories and listen to your episodes and even reading your bio, it's the inside of you. You know what I'm saying? Not only
Yeah.
is it a beautiful name, but it's who you are. And when you are who you are, can nobody can take that away. Nobody
Correct.
can take that
Look
away.
at
No
you
situation,
again.
no circumstance, nobody can take that away. And so that is where I find joy in knowing that I possess it. It's mine. Nobody can take this away
Yep.
from me. Um, it's within.
Your energy and it exudes joy. I really appreciate you, Dr. Howze, for coming on Journey to Joy Live. So we can find you at purposelifecoaching.com. And of course, you are on Facebook. You're so consistent with your brand there. That's Purpose Life Coaching. And then you are also on Instagram at Purpose Life Coaching. Is there anywhere else we can find you?
I'm on LinkedIn as Purpose Life Coach as well.
There it is.
I will eventually. I have a YouTube channel that's private right now
Oop,
because I'm still working
working
on
on
this
it.
jump. But I'm inspired by you to
Get out
jump. We'll see how this goes, but I'm believing for 2025. So I will. I'll be opening up my YouTube channel, making it public. Hopefully, I'm gonna hold myself accountable. So I'm gonna say by January 1,
there it
my
is.
YouTube page. I'm giving myself a deadline.
Okay.
It's not a smart goal until you put a date to it. So I've got everything else, but now I got to put my date to it. So yes.
You can do it. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you for coming on. This has been an exciting discussion. I'm sure we are touching somebody who is listening and learning about how they can find purpose, even despite these challenges that life
Yeah,
gives us. Thank you so much and hope to talk to you more.
absolutely. Thank you. I
You're
appreciate it.
This has been an Enjoy Life production. If you're in a crisis, don't hesitate. Call, text, or chat 988 for immediate support. Please note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional treatment. If you're looking for therapy or medication management through Enjoy Life, visit www.drenjoylife.com to request a consultation. I accept Aetna for Georgia residents, and out-of-pocket services are available for others. I'm licensed in Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Tennessee, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, Illinois, Virginia, and Minnesota. Be sure to grab your copy of the Enjoyno on Amazon for $39.08 to help you on your wellness journey. And remember, Journey to Joy Live is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, may you continue to transform challenges into joy.